1.2 billion people in the world live on less than $1 per day. I hear statistics like this all my life. And I think that statistics, looking at things in a statistical way, can be very helpful and powerful. But statistics can also be used to misdirect or lie. And I'm not saying that this is an out-and-out lie. It's probably based upon the exchange rate, that exists between the money, different monies of the world. And it's probably based upon the actual income that a family receives. They're not counting, maybe they're a farmer and they eat a lot of their own stuff. So they're not counting that as part of their income, So it could be a very accurate statistic in that sense. But it's a very misleading statistic because, in the United States, if you said, well, a person only has $1 a day, they would be, and if they didn't rely on charity, they would be dead. There's no way to eat for $1 a day in America. But I've met a lot of these people in the world in my travels around Asia who are living on $1 a day or less. And I'm not saying there aren't some people starving in the world, but the people that I met, they're not starving, okay? So they're getting by fairly well in some senses. I was almost as poor as they were when I was a kid. So it's a very misleading statistic. And it always rankles me when I hear that. Because it's implying that something is actually much worse than it is. Not that it wouldn't be nice I'm sure it'd be nice for them and nice for everyone else if they were richer. But and usually the statistics are put out there to sort of try to encourage some charity or redistribution of the wealth. But at one time, those people actually, were in China. And during the Cultural Revolution in China, because of governmental policies, more than 20 million people died of starvation. But the way China, since the Cultural Revolution, has gone very, very capitalistic. And that capitalism, the change in the government, has raised more people out of poverty than all the rest of the poverty programs in the world combined have ever done. And we don't focus on the possibility of all the government needs to change is to free people up, and poverty will handle itself in most cases. Another thing that in the US they often talk about is the poverty level. I'm not exactly sure what's considered to be the poverty level, like less than so many dollars per year, that you're under the poverty line. And of course, I'm not saying that, hey, sure, we'd like those people to live better, or maybe they would like to live better too. But let's look at the big picture. If one of those people that's under the poverty line, or the average person under that poverty line, would look at the life of the king about 200 years ago, and what that king had to deal with in terms of his children dying from disease, in terms of being no cars, no TV, no telephones, no way of transportation other than a horse, and all the other disease problems and war problems, and the time there was much more violent than today. Would they really choose to go back then? Would they prefer the life of their king 200 years ago to the life they have now, which is classified under the poverty line? I don't think so. And I'm not trying to argue that, sure, it's great for things to be better, but let's look at things in perspective. I think it's much more empowering that way. Thank you.